coffee industry is one of the country's most important subsectors. It generates approximately $25 million annually.
Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, JAMPRO and JACRO, this year partners with our 5,000 coffee farmers and our 102,000 farm families to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee is very important to the agriculture sector that contributes 6% to GDP, to our development as a nation, as the coffee sector touches the lives of 5,000 coffee farmers and 102,000 farm families.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the late one. Yours truly, Silburn Sidil. I want to welcome those who are on Instagram, those who are on Facebook, and those who are on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, today we've got a very interesting show, and I've got a guest tonight, which is Mr. Norman Washington Grant. He's the CEO of Mavis Bank Coffee Factory and president of Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association. Norman Washington Grant is also a former senator in the Jamaican government, previous administration, the People's National Party, but he has been a key player in the whole coffee industry and agriculture section in Jamaica. But I just found out that there's a coffee day. I never knew there was a coffee day in Jamaica. And of recent days, I learned that this Saturday is the 9th of January, is Coffee Day, Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. I never knew that, and actually it's a 3rd. And for me not to know that, that is something. So I had to call Norman and say, Norman, you got to do a second interview. Let us deal with this issue about Coffee Day, because everybody's been talking about COVID. And right now, what people are talking about is Trump. I'm not even going to go there, because, I mean, right now I'm just looking at another screen there and seeing so many different things happening in America there. So I think what we need to all do now is to chill with a coffee. I'm waiting. Norman is going to talk about some coffee later. We're going to talk about some tasting and how we taste coffee. But I'd invite everyone to go and get some coffee. Desiree, please go and get some coffee. Everyone, go and get some coffee, and let's have a chat later. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in Sir Grant onto the show. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you very much, my friend. I'm great. It's good to be back on your show again, and I'd like to just salute all your listeners across the globe, from the beautiful and sunny island of Jamaica, where we produce the finest coffee in the world, Jamaica Blue Mountain. And we really also salute our 5,000 coffee farmers and our 102,000 farm families. So coffee is a great product and produced by great people. Certainly, it gives a sophisticated coffee experience, and it's nice to be on your show, which is a quality show to discuss a quality and a sophisticated product.
And of course, and while I'm here, I made sure, as you can see, the cup says Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jamaica. And I got Blue Mountain coffee, which is in this cup. We don't do nothing less. I mean, I keep the Blue Mountain coffee, but only for special occasions. At one point, Senator, I had a guy who came here to do some work, and they did so well that I gave them Blue Mountain coffee, you know. And they gave a review, say they got Blue Mountain coffee straight out of Catford on the Sea. So yeah, how is Jamaica anyhow still? How is Jamaica?
Yeah, we're doing well. We have challenges. Specifically in relation to coffee, there have been challenges as a result of COVID-19. We lost market of value-added product in the first 3 months to the tune of 90%, to the extent that we had an over-inventory during that period of about 750,000 pounds of coffee, valuing $1 billion. So that in itself really created, its own cash flow difficulties for, the companies and the farmers. So, celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day on the 9th of January, which is Saturday, is very timely. It is very strategic. And we are seeking really to engage the local coffee consumers to drink more coffee locally.
Yeah.
As we also seek to diversify markets and engage new markets, new coffee drinkers across the globe.
If I can start off first, as I mentioned earlier, and I said to ladies and gentlemen that I didn't know that there was a coffee day or Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. Let me be specific, Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. So therefore, are you saying that other companies who have coffees in Jamaica are not a part of that day? It's only Blue Mountain Coffee.
All right, so let me give you a background on it. The concept of Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day came about by one of our partners across the globe, that is the Japanese partners, is the All Japan of Importers of Jamaican coffee. They went to their parliament 3 years ago to legislate for this day, the 9th of January, to be Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. We approach our Governor General, and we mean in the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, and I'll talk a little about the membership shortly, to say to our Governor General, would like to also celebrate this day in Jamaica, because Japan buy over 70% of our coffee. There's at one time they were buying 90%, 99%, but the diversification of the market, was of such that, the Japanese portion has now been reduced to 70%. But the celebration around the day came about in normally we export coffee throughout the world through the London Stock Exchange market. So the Japanese normally buy our coffee through London, and it was a coffee that the Queen enjoyed, and the Japanese, consumer says, well, if the Queen is enjoying this great coffee, we need it too. But in 1953, the first 3 bars of coffee was exported to Japan from the Mavis Bank Coffee Factory by the late Keeblebond. By the 9th of January, 1967, the largest shipment subsequent to 1953 left the port of Kingston to Japan. And we thought round about the 50th anniversary of that event and the question of the development of the market in Japan would actually celebrate that day, the 9th of January, as Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. The celebration was this successful that, not only did it went well in Japan, but also in Jamaica. And therefore we are engaged in the entire world, and the USA, China, Canada, along with Japan, to join in with the Jamaican farmers, the JCEA, JAMPRO was come on board with us, and JACRA to celebrate this day in a very big way. And it is very timely because we certainly want to diversify market and to get the finest coffee to all our coffee consumers across the globe.
That's very interesting. But what I'm picking up here is that Japan seems to be one of the lead players in regards to coffee export to Japan, isn't it? Japan seems to be one of the lead players.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd like to take this time to recognize the contribution of um, Ambassador Ricardo Alcock, who was there as our ambassador, and our current ambassador, Ambassador Shauna K. Richards, who is really playing a key role in making all these activities happening in Japan.
Yes.
Primarily due to COVID, and we're not there. So she is really the bridge between the coffee exporters and the coffee importers. So, Japan now buys 70%. There's at one time that we actually export up to $30 million worth of coffee to Japan over one crop year. Due to price issues and supply overstocking, the price went down. But they're still buying 70% of our coffee. We think that annually they buy somewhere in the region of about 10 million US dollars, which for us is an extremely important market, a mature market. Yes. Market that we are trying to refresh the brand. We're trying to excite the younger people. We're trying to get the new middle managers and senior managers and the new CEOs in their 30s and 40s who have now stepped into leadership in some of the companies in Japan to really, buy into this exciting vision of Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee to be the king of coffees in the world. Right. And, as the Japanese says, and we join them, it's a winning bean. It's a champion coffee that, gives you, a fantastic coffee experience when you have it. The aroma is fabulous. It's balanced, very chocolate in flavor and sweet, a beautiful aftertaste that when you have it, you're not just having coffee, but you're having, an experience beyond compare.
Listening to you, I understand why they call it a coffee man, because you breed and think and everything coffee. As I see that you're selling coffee to us right now. I just want to welcome Lorna Savage as well, who is she was listening the other night. I said she's going to tune in. Desire Murray and other persons who are on the show. And please, ladies and gentlemen, please share this as we talk about coffee. I want to ask you about the activities now. Because this is the third anniversary. Yes. But was there first one in Jamaica or second one, or was it Japan and then we now doing the third one?
We did the first one in Japan.
Right.
We had just a soft launch in Jamaica.
Yes.
The second one last year was very successful that we did it in Jamaica, where we had, some exciting events and some promotions. And Japan also had a ceremony to recognize the day.
Yes.
And this year we are doing the third one. So it has been influenced by the COVID protocol, and therefore we are engaged in a lot of digital and virtual promotion in recognizing the COVID protocol. But I'd also like to say, Silvern, is that we're not only focusing on Japan.
Yes.
Japan is a mature market, but we're also looking on the USA that 20% of our coffee is exported into the USA, 10% into Europe and China. So we're taking a very holistic approach to promoting Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. This year also, we are particularly taking a keen interest in our local coffee consumers. The statistic shows that Jamaicans consume 0.25 kilograms of coffee per year per person. That's compared to Costa Rica that consume 5 kilograms of coffee per year per person. Finland, 12 kilograms of coffee per year per person. And therefore, there's a huge opportunity in Jamaica for us to create what we call a coffee drinking culture, both coffee as a hot and cold beverage. So this year we have used the opportunity to launch coffee drink campaign, mainly to engage our consumers, to support our farmers, support the rural industries, and drink more coffee. We'll be talking of the health values of coffee, because coffee has some health values, and we will certainly be talking about that during the ninth, up to the 9th of January.
Yeah.
So we're also focusing on how we expand the market, which is the global market for coffee, entering into new markets. And that's why we have big partnerships with the missions.
Yes.
So we'll have promotions in Miami, in New York, in Boston, in Toronto, big promotion in Japan, yes, in London. And it's we are having samples of Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee shared with influential persons who will sip and share. And in fact, I need to make sure that you get your on Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day, you sip and share, the fantastic experience that you have, from Jamaica Blue Mountain.
At the same time, I'm sipping and sharing as well. I'm sipping and sharing now, because I just had some.
Me too.
Okay, fantastic. Now I want to go. I just want to go back to the coffee day, and the people. I saw there was a church service.
Activities.
Yeah, there was a church service. Yep. And I just play a good snippet of it here.
Our activities. So we're here today. Other activities will include local coffee crawl at different locations, discounts on Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee at local coffee shops, Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee tasting at some hotels, social media promotions, virtual Blue Mountain coffee conferences hosted by our New York mission, Jamaica Blue Mountain promotion at our missions in Japan, New York, Miami, London, Toronto, and promotions in Japan by the all importers of Jamaican coffee at our embassy. And
so therefore you're having all of these activities, and we were trying to get the High Commissioner, but he wasn't available to come on and to talk about some of the activities from the various missions. So from the various missions, what are some of the activities from various missions? I know you mentioned virtual still at the same time, leading up to the 9th and leading up to the 9th, yes.
Sure. Well, let me start with what is. We are going to be offering discounts at coffee shops.
Yes.
They'll be tasting in hotels. We'll have influential persons going to different coffee shops, sipping and sharing. And we have some exciting names. As I said, that a big focus is those on that has a big social media following. In the missions, we have started the distribution of coffee in Miami, Boston, New York, London, and Japan, Tokyo. New York, we are going to be having a virtual conference on Friday in New York, hosted by the CG Wilson and her team out of the New York mission.
Yeah.
And it will include partners in Jamaica like JACRA, JAMPRO, JCEA, our partners in Japan, AGIJC, through our ambassador, Shawnake Richards. And we are also going to be engaging some special persons who have great influence in New York, and CG Wilson will be saying a lot more about those. So there will be tasting as well at all the missions, and those tastings will be held on Friday. So everybody that comes in to the mission, Jamaicans, or those who want information will, get a cup of, the best coffee in the world. There are some scheduled interviews on television and cable stations in New York as well, between Thursday and Saturday. So, we are making a big effort in light of the inability to be on the ground physically, to be doing a lot of promotion and tasting virtually. In Japan, at the UCC Museum, Coffee Museum, there will also be coffee promotion, coffee tasting. Our ambassador Shauna Kay will be there along with members of the All Japan Importers of Jamaican Coffee. It will just be coffee. The conversation will be a buzz about Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, and the finest coffee. And we say if you taste it, you will have it,
Well,
So really a coffee conversation.
Well, you know what I'm thinking about now, growing up in Jamaica. I don't know if it was Miss Lou or whatever, and there's a song that we used to love to sing, and it said, "Me coffee, me coffee, me coffee, me coffee, me bowl of boiling coffee in the morning." I care for none of these. The only thing for me is my bowl of boiling coffee in the morning. So I do remember those things there. It is very interesting, though, Senator Norman, because it is very clear that Jamaica, while the COVID thing is happening and while there's been a fallout, but Jamaica is really pressing forward at the same time, not being held back, not being constrained by the difficulties at this time. Because as you mentioned earlier, Jamaican farmers have had a bad time. Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so tell me now, I understand the whole principle of the awareness and to make the Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee to one next level. But how are we, you sort of alluded to it briefly, but how do we deal with now with the coffee farmers and how can they benefit, and what is the way we are doing to help them get back on their feet, if anything, due to the fallout of COVID-19 and the lack of coffee being sold at great
rate? Everything that we do is about the farmer. I mean, the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, we are also farmers, right? But the business itself is a processing, manufacturing, and exporting business. Coffee is the raw material. The business itself, you have to operate profitably, because when you buy the coffee from the farmers, you must be able to pay them. For example, we started a crop this year with, $3,000 a box. We're now up to $5,500 a box. There was a particular time a couple of years ago where the farmers had coffee and nobody was buying it because there was no market. So the whole question of this conversation to engage market, to stimulate a conversation that will lead to demand creation, will ensure that as the farmer produces that coffee, there will be a buyer. We are focusing also on productivity. Currently, the average production per acre is around about 30 boxes. We think that it needs to get up to 90 boxes an acre for the farmers to really make some money from 1 acre of coffee. But I think fundamentally to the issue of sustainability is where the farmers' coffee is matured, ready for reaping, that they can take it off and it can be paid for. And I think that in itself is a fundamental game changer that we should not, underscore. We should not underestimate, rather. So what does Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day do for the farmers? It makes sure that once you grow that coffee and it comes in, there's a buyer, there is a market. Maybe the price may not be where you really want it to be currently, but over time, it will get there. Reverend Hal Miller at the church service on Sunday says, don't wait on the whirlwind to sow. Go out there and plant, because if you wait on the wind, then maybe when the opportunity comes, then you will miss those opportunities.
Yes.
And that's what we're about, you know. We're about creating opportunities out of crisis, look into the crisis, and
Yes.
see where there are opportunities. And that is why we are saying that COVID-19 has said to us that we have been exporting a lot of coffee out of the country. The tourist industry shut down, and what has happened? We have a stockpile of coffee. It affects the farmers because if we are not able to sell that coffee and liquidate it into cash, then
Yes.
you don't have money to buy from the farmers the upcoming crop.
Yes.
And so it's all about the farmers, and we want to just, you know, assure the farmers that whatever we are doing, not only the farmers themselves, but the farm
Yes.
families, the communities that they cultivate the coffees, because the conversation about drinking more coffee locally, we're going to be saying to the government, listen, you have to look at farm roads. You have to make sure that the rural infrastructure improves to make life easier for the farmers so
Yes.
that the cost of production is not as high as it is now. We have engaged the minister, Honorable Floyd Green, who is in support of the event, the Prime Minister,
Yes.
the leader of the opposition. Um, you know, they're all we have said to the state that coffee is, you know, a very, very important crop. Agriculture contributes 6% to GDP. Our coffee export in terms of generation at one time, it went up to 60 million US dollars. That's a lot of money, a lot of spending, and therefore it is an industry that we have to preserve. So this thing is all about the farmers. It's
Can I just,
all about the 4,000 farmers
yeah. Can I,
that we.
yeah. I wanted to ask a question because someone had asked a question to ask that it seems like the farmers, okay, like Japan get the coffees at very low prices in a way. And in Jamaica it is more expensive. That just so I don't know if that's a fake news or whatever like that, you know, but maybe you can address that. That's something someone said, and that's why coffee in Jamaica is a bit more expensive. That's why people are not able to drink Blue Mountain coffee because it's top of the line. How do you address that, if anything?
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
You know, you're a lawyer. I am an accountant and a marketer, right?
Yes.
In order to pay the farmer as much as you want to pay him, then you have to maximize your revenue from that box of coffee.
Yes.
And therefore, what you will normally do is to sell where there is a demand for the coffee at its highest value. Because you certainly need to convert in order to pay the farmers, you know, a reasonable price, a price that, you know, is reasonably sustainable for the farmers. And therefore, what we have done, coffee that you export have to meet certain green bean specification
Yes.
in keeping with ICO regulations and the world trade of coffee. And those coffees then are shipped in bags or barrels to Japan, the USA, Europe, and they fetches the highest price.
Yes.
And in Jamaica now, you then sell what you have, which are Blue Mountain coffee, but in value added um, form to the local market. Because we are not drinking a lot of coffee locally, you find we rely mostly on the tourists to come in and buy.
Yes.
You know, and therefore, what pushes the Jamaican Exporters Association is to expand our export in order to sell as quickly as possible,
Yes.
because the crop cycle is 12 months. you need to sell. If you keep the coffee too long, it gets old crop and fall in value. You need to pay back the bank, and you need to make sure that the farmers, are paid on a timely basis. So people really look on it as a simple matter. It's not really as simple as it appears. It's pretty complex. But and that is why we say that there are some important things that we need to do. The government has said, in terms of support to the farmers, that they will provide $80 million to assist the farmers as a result of the loss that was sustained after the last disaster, which was estimated at somewhere in the region of $200 million. This is $200 million of loss that is carried by the farmer. So we are patiently waiting on that to be realized. JACRA, on the other hand, and that is coming through JACRA, which is the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, which is a merger of a number of other commodities. On the other hand, support us in ensuring that the quality of our coffee that we put on the market is absolutely the best. And that is why we're so confident that when you look for that logo, that Blue Mountain logo, let me shift and see if you can see it. That Blue Mountain logo right there. The Blue Mountain logo there. You look for that on your packages and your products, right? And that tells you it's a seal of approval from JACRA, and all of our exporters who are regulated are actually selling the genuine and the best Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee to compete, with all of those that are out there that may be having fake coffee that we're trying to get off the market.
Of recent days, someone had reached out to me and said they want to get involved with coffee, and I put them forward to you. Separate and apart from that person, because they know me and because I know you, it was easy access. But how can someone then want to tap into the coffee market with Blue Mountain? What can they do if they don't have that direct access, as I did with that person, which moved very quickly?
Okay, so firstly, Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, we have about 14 registered members of the association, all of whom are registered traders and exporters by the Coffee Industry Board, formerly the Coffee Industry Board, or JACRA. And just to make sure that I don't miss out any, I'm going to try and see if I can name all of them. So you have Jablum and the Maple Coffee Factory. You have Wallingford Coffee. You have Coffee Traders. You have Stoney Coffee, or Jamaica Coffee Corporation. Coffee Roasters, or Country Traders. Island Blue, or Jamaica Standard Product. Moyal, Maho Estate, which is just coming back into the membership. Trumpet Tree, and of course, Coffee Traders also market Cafe Blue. You have Greenwich Coffee. You have Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Venture. And you have Moyal it's a new company that it trades under NASCAP. Let us say Moyal Estate. Right. So if you go online to jamaicacoffee.org, then those inquiries will come to the JCEA. You can search on any one of these companies and you can get to their website. But if you go on our website, all of those companies are listed, and then you can go into their website, or you can just go to JACRA, JACRA.org, which is the regulatory authority, and they will then direct you from there. On our list also is Salada Food, who is also a member of the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, a registered member of the Coffee Exporters Association. There's also the Coffee Growers, and the Coffee Growers Association as well. So we try to represent all registered company that trades in coffee, and we're trying as an association to really create this white space, this big space where we can build a huge brand, right? And everybody can take off of the Jamaica Blue Mountain and the I Mountain brand, because we are not only talking about Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, but we're talking also about Jamaica I Mountain coffee, because we do need to grow more non-Blue Mountain coffee at lower prices so we can reduce the volume of coffee that we have to import to blend back with the Jamaica Blue Mountain to make the Blue Mountain blend. I mean, we, so there again, these are opportunities that are, ripe, they're pregnant, opportunities that we really want to really showcase and put forward and engage investors. There are a lot of lands out there, can go into, the planting of coffee, the processing of coffee. There are some people that most of these factories are certified. There are some of rainforest certified farms. We also have HACCP certified, SQF, so it's big investment, and all of this is just to ensure that this coffee that we are presenting on the world stage is an undisputed champion of all coffee.
That's why they call it a coffee man, because you're just selling the coffee so much that someone is saying, can one get discount when buying direct from the Mavis Bank or Crichton coffee factories? I don't know if you see that.
Oh yes, yes. We are going to be doing discounts on Coffee Day. Once you engage,
I think
go ahead.
I think they're saying, can one get discount when buying direct from the Mavis Bank or Crichton? I don't think they're speaking specifically for the 9th.
Okay.
They're speaking generally speaking.
Oh yes, for us, the price that you get when you come directly to the factory is different from what you would buy in the supermarkets.
Right.
But to have, a regulatory, a regulated framework that supports our distribution chain that we want to respect. But if you are buying serious volumes, we also have our website that you can, go on to get coffee, and just engage us. And this engagement is also to all our coffee members of the JCEA. We are going to do a supplement, for example, on Friday, and all of the names of the members with their emails and their contact details will be there. So anybody wants any of the brands of Jamaica Blue Mountain, you will really be free to choose your brand. What excites me is that the standard of Jamaica Blue Mountain across the brands are very unified, in a particular taste band, because of the role that the Coffee Industry Board continues to play. And let me say, frankly, because the players ourselves takes quality very seriously.
Yes.
In terms of the cherry that we buy, we ensure that we are processing this coffee in an environmentally friendly way. Very important. We pay our people, we treat our workers well. So we don't even need fair trade certification, because how we treat our workers and farmers is in excess of fair trade standard. So we don't even go to the market to say, boy, we're fair trade standard, so give us 10 cents more. We just feel that, we do so well. Our factory operations are among the best in the world in terms of, how we process the different methods, and we're trying new things as well. And our operations are certified by Bureau of Standard, JACRA, NEPA, SQF, ASAP, FDA, so we go beyond to say that we are providing a great coffee, but we are doing it in corporate, environmentally friendly, and in a fair way in trading.
Fantastic. Now, a couple questions which are coming through as we're going to be landing soon. And there are a couple of things which I needed to do, because you need to teach us how you taste the coffee and all those other things. But Tracy Woodbury Forbes, you might recognize the name. What does sustainability look like for the farmers and industry what does sustainability look like?
Yeah, so I think that the whole issue of sustainability is extremely important. And price is critical. I think that if we need the average production per acre for the Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee farmer is 30 boxes.
Yes.
When you compare that to Costa Rica and others, Costa Rica is 150 to 200 boxes. So our plant population is also maybe 50% of those countries, because they are flat lands, and while we are 5-6 slope lands. So we have to find a way to get our production and our productivity up to at least 65 boxes per acre. There are farmers that are doing 100, 125, and that's great. That's where. So to find a way to hit that mark, the coffee farmer is going to struggle at 30 boxes per acre.
Yes.
The only way that he will survive at 30 boxes per acre is unless, one, there are other crops that he's planting, and two, it is like a family farm. So you have, the family doing the work, but it will create severe challenge if you have to buy labor to get the farm moving at 30 boxes per acre. So these are some of the conversations that we'll be having with government. How can we invest in more, research and development? How can we intensify our pest and disease management system? How can we improve our roads? How can we look on a situation where we feel that there are double taxation issues? Conversation when the coffee comes in, it is taxed. When you roast that coffee and export it again, it is taxed. So how can we remedy those issues that will lead to better prices to the farmers, and therefore lend itself to more sustainability in the long run for the farmers, families, and the industry.
So the clear thing is that the farmers are the priority, ensuring that they are sorted out very well. Lorna Foster just said a while ago that individual supermarket prices varies. Some works are quite expensive. Is that just because of their markup, really? I mean,
it's because of their markup. It's because of their markup. It all depends. There are some distribution channels that is comfortable with 30%. Some is said 50%. Some it all depends what their business model is. So a lot of time, because even when a lot of people see the prices of coffee in Japan as $100 a pound, or in China $250 a pound, it has nothing to do with what we get.
The market. It's the market.
Well, I can tell you what we're actually getting for a kilogram of coffee ranges from $23 to with in a small portion in the 30s, where in the past we were getting something like 60 and 70. But when you go to the market and see those products on the shelf, you see $100 and you come back and said, oh boy, we're carrying the Jamaican farmers to we're carrying them for a walk. But when you talk to those coffee shops, they will tell you the cost of their rent, the cost of the electricity, the cost of the cost of capital is not so high, but their overall cost, and they go into a lot of packaging. So for us, from where we sit, I'm very, very happy to ensure from where the JC is. We want to ensure that if we produce 200 boxes or 250 boxes or 280,000, these are in thousand boxes, you multiply that by 10 and you can get 2.5 to 3 million pounds. We're able to at least sell 70% of that coffee as green coffee into the market, right, where we can convert that to cash. We're still excited to grow our value-added business, right, at the same time, but our center focus is our Jamaican farmers, their farm families, and their community.
Okay. Now, as we're wrapping up, I just want to thank you so much for that, and it's very clear what we are onto. You did something earlier, and I got this video here, which I just want to show. And
at Mavis Land Coffee Factory.
Can you explain what is happening there? Maybe you can give us a demonstration just to show some practicalities of what's happening there.
Well, what I can do, I can demonstrate for you, is that you pour the hot water on the coffee.
Yes.
Okay. And you stir for aroma. And then you're trying to see if there are any off flavors. After you do that, you then taste, right, which is taking up sample in your spoon. So there's a coffee sample in my spoon, and I will slurp. Lovely.
So is it that the different grades over the years, being a taster?
Yes, I've been cupping I'm a certified international coffee cup taster. But once you know your coffee, and you have been cupping, I've been cupping for well over 30 odd years.
Yes.
35 years, which meant I start when I was 2.
So the question to ask you then is, how can Lorna Foster or Tracy become coffee tasters?
Well, first you have to practice. It's just like you're an accountant, or you have to be in it. You have to know the product. You have to do taste profiles. You have to distinguish between different smell and different taste. And you have to be able to there's a taste wheel that you, for example, in doing the cupping course, you almost go through about 36 different flavors that you have to know, smell, and understand the difference between them, whether it is citric or any one of the characteristics.
Well, you can see you got sorry.
You have to love it. Right. I remember I give kudos to Kibamon for my mentor in coffee, because when I started to taste coffee, I usually do the roasting and prepare the tasting session for him, and pour the, and he would stay there. He and David Evans, the two of them usually taste together, and they taste, and and they walked out of the room, and then I stayed in all alone, you know, copying and trying to, find out what they say that they got, and even when work was over, at 4 o'clock, I usually stay in the copying lab, just copying and slurping. Well, the first thing that I try to do is to get the slurp.
yes. Well, listen.
But over time, it's something that you will
Well, listen.
develop.
I've got some last questions from a couple of persons there. Miss Forbes just asking a question: how is coffee exported, raw or roasted beans? What are the benefits and disadvantages of each method? Looking at quality, is that an essay? Is that going to be long answer, or you can break it down very quick?
So we export both raw and roasted. If you have a roaster, you would tend to buy raw beans so you can roast it and put it under your brand. I shared with you all of the members of the JC, and we roast under our own brands and sell it. So the early the later it roast, towards making, towards enjoying, it's the fresher it is. But we have developed packaging mechanism in terms of like vacuum that preserves the quality. So, if you buy roasted coffee, you will get a great experience. If you buy green coffee and roast it, you'll still get a great experience.
Okay. Well, our next question here from Nicola Millington, a friend of mine. What is the best way to make a cup of coffee?
Well, back in my days, I usually see my grandmother boil it in a Dutch pot.
Yeah.
But now there are sophisticated ways. So you can pour your coffee, you can get a filter, and you can do what is called pour over, which is you put your coffee in a filter and you get your hot water and you pour over, and it just give you this fantastic involved experience because you're smelling the aroma. Siphon is a new method that is used where heat percolates the coffee and then the coffee flows in and then you pours it out. And the conventional perking, in a normal coffee perking machine. But there are also new methods that come, filters, cappuccino style, Bonamatic has made some very sophisticated machine that can do your machine and your chocolate based. So there are a number of methods. Now I just enjoying the pour over method. Takes out my my coffee, pour it out in the morning and have a great cup.
And finally, does a cup make a difference? Because Miss Foster said, being on a coffee at the Crichton Blue Coffee Estate, and I did taste the coffee. It was out of this world. The coffee shop was a touch smaller. His coffee cup was a touch smaller than yours, Senator Grant. She said her cup was a bit smaller. Me and my Zimbabwean friend was quiet. Does a cup make a difference sometimes? I think cup sometimes does.
6 to 8 ounce fluid ounce is good. 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Of course, coffee, the ratio to coffee and water, if 7 grams to 6 to 7 grams makes a good cup of makes a good cup of coffee. Some people don't like their coffee strong.
Yes.
Right. It comes down to your taste. I like my coffee fairly strong. I only have 1 or 2 cups. And so it's really how you like it. For example, a pound of coffee can make you 60 to 80 cups depending on how strong you want it. Some people go 60, 65, 70, and some people go maybe 80 depending on the density of the coffee. That's important. Again, the density and the texture of the coffee also have something also to do what end up in a perfect cup using a winning bean.
Well, fantastic.
The king of coffee, Jamaica Blue, the champion coffee. Jamaica Blue Mountain.
The king of coffee and the super salesman for coffee, Mr. Coffee Man. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for joining. I'm not finished. Sorry. Go on. Say your sentence.
Okay.
See? Go on. Go on.
No, I want to say, promise me that for Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day, you will have your Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee.
Okay.
And you sip and share on your social media. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Sip and share.
So
and tell us that you're
everyone
the best coffee in the world.
So everyone should be drinking Blue Mountain coffee, or can they improvise?
I would strongly suggest that between now and Friday, you get your Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee.
Yes.
Or if you don't know where to get it, please let me make sure that I can direct you. Or I can, we still have 48 hours. We can make it happen. We want to make sure that you're really having a sip of the best and the greatest tasting coffee in the world.
And even if there's lockdown, there's a way around it.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you raised that, because we're finding that a lot of the coffees, e-commerce is bubbling. People are now ordering, and delivery is being made straight at home, right? As it relates to, a lot of merchandise, and, the Premier Coffee is no exception.
Yeah.
In terms of how we can get that coffee from our factory, to your dining room table.
Yes. Now, before I finish, I just want to ask this one question. Coffee was deemed at once not healthy, and then over the years, it's changed the whole dynamics. Is coffee healthy? Just like, is it healthy?
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah. Break it. Mash up the fake news now. Yeah. Sort it out.
Yeah. For me, and you shouldn't overdo anything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that coffee has some tremendous health values. I'm not a doctor, and I will not go into that aspect of it. But there are documentations that has showed that coffee has tremendous health values. And drinking a cup or two or three of coffee is a great experience. A cup or two or three of Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee is a fantastic experience.
Yes.
Just because of the texture of the coffee, the balance, the aftertaste, the flavor, and just that it just gives you this fine experience that is beyond compare. So the word from, as a coffee salesman,
yes,
and a coffee taster and a producer, I have seen where a number of those people in coffee live so long, right? Yeah. But let's get the doctor to speak to that. I just say I sell a great product. I sell a quality product. It gives you a fantastic experience. It's value for money.
Yes.
And I'd like to really ask all across the world, our coffee lovers, those who seek after, a premium, luxurious coffee product, to join the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association and our membership, JACRA, JAMPRO, the all Japan importers of Jamaican coffee, all our missions overseas that will join us in London, Boston, New York, Miami, Canada, and Japan, Tokyo, to excite yourself with the fantastic experience of enjoying the best coffee in the world, Jamaica Blue Mountain. And I want to in particularly salute, again, Ambassador Shauna K. Richards in Japan, C.G. Wilson in New York, Deputy C.G. Von Roy Rochester in New York, who actually spent some time in Japan, and all our team members at Jam Pro, exciting team. President Edwards, Marlene, Rosemary, all of those, Charlene, all of those that have done so much in making the day great. All of the plans, all the members of the JCA, I can't call all their names, but in particular, Jackra with Irvin Willis and, Mr. Goslan and his team. Yes, we have done, I think we will do our farmers, Jamaica, proud.
Yes.
In notwithstanding the challenges of COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
We're saying there is an opportunity out of this crisis. And that's why we're saying, get a sip of the finest coffee in the world on Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day, the king of coffee.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank so much for Senator Norman Washington Grant, CEO of Mavis Brand Coffee Factory and president of the Jamaica Exporters Association. And we had a very good discussion talking about coffee and the third coffee day this Saturday the 9th. One of the things that you make sure you do this Saturday is take a picture of you drinking Blue Mountain coffee.
Yes.
I'm just going to say, if you put something in your cup, just call it Blue Mountain coffee, wink, wink, and just say,
no, get your Blue Mountain coffee and have a real experience of the finest coffee.
I've got a
so
lot.
go get it. Go get the website and order it.
Yeah,
and it will get in 48 hours.
I've got a lot downstairs. So but make sure you take a selfie of yourself drinking. Sorry?
I know you.
Yeah. And make sure you get a selfie of yourself drinking the coffee. But the most important thing is that while we're drinking coffee, there's a bigger picture about the coffee, is that it's actually reaching out for sustenance as well, sustaining the coffee farmers, because even, Senator, there was a big issue with the roads there, isn't it, of the recent rain?
Yes.
And
yes, still having severe problems at Gordon Town on the road.
Yes. So
and we are that it be resolved as soon as possible, because it is having a serious impact on the rural people. And I want to come back to talk to you about rural life, because I think that we need to do a lot more in really supporting the rural families, 49% of our population that resides in community. A lot of us are coffee farmers. We're not leaving here.
Yeah. Do you know what I just remembered? Something I just remembered. I saw an article recently, and you spoke about it, that there's an insurance which is going to be done for farmers in Jamaica. Can you speak on that for a couple of minutes about this insurance thing for farmers? I think this is not just coffee farmers, isn't it?
Yeah, but for my 15 years in the Senate, and as president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, I've continuously articulated the need for a national crop insurance scheme that covers all farmers. The disasters have been, just severe negative impact on our farmers. I'm excited that JAMPRO has established a committee that is looking at it. Jamaican coffee farmers had an exciting insurance scheme, and I said that we could benefit from, the committee could benefit from that. So I'm very happy that it has been brought back into the conversation. And over the next couple months, I'll see how that evolves. But it is something what COVID-19 has confirmed. I knew it long ago.
Yes,
that agriculture is fundamental to the development of Jamaica. Our 250,000 farmers and fisher folks are the bedrock of our economic development, and we have to support them.
Yes.
And a part of this support is dealing with a crop insurance where they lose their crops they can get some benefit. You may have to have a cocktail mixture. It's maybe contribution from their sales, something from the consolidated fund, some like the parametric insurance scheme has not. We haven't gotten any benefits. So I'm saying some of that money could go into setting up such a crop insurance scheme. So, I think that I'm welcoming.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that, going forward, it is something that will be realized and it will not only benefit our 250,000 farmers, but, 49% of our people that resides in rural communities and benefit the economy.
Yes.
Because agriculture is really, it's one of the few sectors that grow during this COVID issue.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of people has come back of the small farmers using their own equity to grow the sector.
Yes.
And I think the government needs to step up and really put their best foot forward in support of our farmers.
Well, Senator, listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on and for briefing us. People have been very updated as much as possible. Excellent news. Read the farmers insurance. Paul Kohler said Starbucks is selling Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. Everybody's getting into the action. Experience looking at green coffee, and the ones were ready for picking. Colors were different. Someone just said, do I have to go into it? Has the Savage Pen Road completed as yet, Senator Grant? Yes or no?
No. It is in progress, but it's not yet complete. We're hoping that, based on information coming out of NAA, that should be completed by the middle of this month, we are told.
Yes. Okay, guys, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We can watch this on the replay. And of course, Senator Norman Washington Grant, this is his second time he has been on the show. I think he's now a regular. So I think we might have to bring you on another time to talk about some of the developments in Jamaica regarding the roads.
I'm only happy to do that.
Yes, because I think that is very important, as the question which Ms. Foster asked about things, because while we are here, we're trying to find out what is happening over there. Paul Cole did ask a question. Let me see. Did he ask a question? I asked a question. Let me see. Starbucks selling... is Starbucks selling Jamaican Blue? Oh, sorry. I thought he was confirming. Yes.
I said
Paul.
yes.
Paul, yes, it is. Sorry, I thought it was a statement you made, which was obvious, because I understand that is big. So, Paul, yes.
They buy Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee from us. Of course, they may be selling it seasonally, but they buy Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, and they are selling Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee.
Fantastic. I tell you, while I'm talking to you, there's so many things happening, because some crazy stuff is happening in America, and people are saying to me, check out what is happening in America. Some crazy stuff is over there,
But I'd like to close by
please,
just expressing condolence to the family of Mr. Butch Stewart, who passed on recently. The coffee industry has benefited significantly from his entrepreneurial strategic moves. We have sold, one of the hotels that I was, as a youngster at 20, went into to conduct trainings was in the Sandals Hotel. Right? When I just entered the coffee industry. His son Adam and myself, we served together on a number of community committees, and he has just been, Mr. Butchert has been extraordinary, and we want to say condolence to the family. We want to, say, may his soul rest in peace, and may we take time out to celebrate his work and his life. He has really helped a number of farmers. Even when I was in the JAS, in terms of buying produce from farmers. And I would say that, again, the coffee industry is one of those sectors that has benefited from, his involvement in business, and we salute him we hail his work, and we express our condolence and prayers to the family and the extended family. And we say, may his soul rest in peace, and may his legacy lives on way of his time.
And I want to echo that again as well, because we mentioned it yesterday. That's why I was able to grab the picture very easily, because he's a stalwart. I believe I met him in London, funnily. Can I tell you who I met in London also? Funnily, Michael Manley. I met Michael Manley when he did a lecture at London School of Economics, and I met him there. Funny, and I'm still trying to go through my garage to try and find that piece of paper where he signed a signature. And so like Butch Stewart as well, met him in London. But, you know, these are great stalwarts, Jamaican stalwarts, and Butch Stewart is a household name. I remember growing up in Ocherius, and there was ATL, you know, Appliance Traders or something like that. That was his company. And then my sister, I know, used to work at Sandals, Ocherius. The funny thing about it, which is a funny thing, of the people who came over from Jamaica recently, who were making a lot of noise on the plane, and of course 20 of them had COVID, and upon the 4 of them had the new strain. They said they were making a lot of noise, but when they went to Sandals, they're all quiet because they saw the luxury that they were going to be staying in for the next couple of weeks. Anyway, but that goes to the testimony of Mr. Stewart, and the great legacy he has left for his son and his family, and for Jamaica as well, you know. So Norman, listen, I'm gonna go now, but thank you so much tonight. Much appreciated, and for your time and your kindness as usual to update us as we are here in lockdown in the UK. Lockdown. But at least when we talk to you now, we are actually transporting ourselves back around to Jamaica, because I believe as much as possible when I do my walk, and ladies and gentlemen, Norman and I, we are going to do some live walking in the morning. He's going to be in Jamaica, and I'm going to be here, and we're going to go Facebook Live. I think you run. I walk. If you want to run, you can run. So we're going to do some live.
But for that morning, I'll walk with you.
yes. So we're going to do some of those sort of things there, you know, and develop on many things. So listen, sir, I want to thank you so much, and all the best very much for your work.
Yes, thank you very much for having me, representing the coffee sector.
Yes.
For the Jamaica Coffee Day. Thank you very much. And stay safe, my friend. And, you know, this too, I hope, will pass soon.
It will pass soon. And if you just stay there while I just sign off, okay? Just
COVID-19 pandemic, right?
Yes. If you just stay there, sir, if you don't mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for joining us, those on Instagram and Facebook. And do tune in tomorrow night as well, where I'll be more than likely have in review, because so much things are happening. Going to give an update, possibly with Dr. Burton and Kima and Keisha as well, which will be the first show for in review. And you can always do the replay for this show as well, and you can watch it on Facebook and YouTube. It's a very informative show. So this is one, even though it's a bit long, but sometimes we need to, as a matter of fact, we have nothing to do now. So you can spend some time and listen to some coffee, and just drink some coffee as well, and sing me coffee, my bowl of boiling coffee in the morning. I care for none of these. The only thing for me, but my only boiling coffee in the morning. And as Miss Lou would say, aye. All right. So take care of yourself, guys. See you around. And I just sign out now.
The coffee industry is one of the country's most important subsectors. It generates approximately $25 million annually.
Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, JAMPRO and JACRO, this year partners with our 5,000 coffee farmers and our 102,000 farm families to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee is very important to the agriculture sector that contributes 6% to GDP, to our development as a nation, as the coffee sector touches the lives of 5,000 coffee farmers and 102,000 farm families.